You can now use ScrapeBox and OpenAI features directly integrated into ScrapeBox. That is what we're going to talk about today. What is it and how does it work? Of course, we are talking about ScrapeBox. If you don't have ScrapeBox, you can get ScrapeBox by going to scrapebox.com, roll to the bottom, and you can grab the deal before it ends. Of course, there are massive amounts of features, and you can read about all of those under the plugins and add-ons, etc. After that, you want to head over to scrapeboxtips.com, pop in your information, and I'm going to give you free full-length tutorials, guides, checklists, even teach you how to make money using ScrapeBox. All of it's free, all of it's optional, but you can head over to scrapeboxtips.com and get that. So what is this? What are we talking about? Well, if we go up here to premium plugins, we can do show available plugins, and we can find the ChatGPT OpenAI scraper. And we're going to go ahead and install it. You can buy it through here. It is a premium plugin, so it is an additional investment into ScrapeBox. So add-ons come included. Premium plugins are an additional investment. And so once it is there and activated, you can install it and update it from here. Once we have that, we can launch it here under plugins and ChatGPT OpenAI scraper. That'll take a moment just to load here, and then we'll see some different things. So I'm going to first kind of breeze through all of this, and then we'll come back and talk about it. There is Chat with Me. This is ChatGPT built right in, so you have access to ChatGPT there, and this doesn't go down. This is API access to ChatGPT, so it's not like if ChatGPT is busy, which it is all the time, and you can't get in because it's down. This doesn't go down. I'm not saying it's not impossible. I'm just saying it doesn't go down when the regular ChatGPT goes down. Create images lets you utilize the DALL-E. I don't know if I said that right. It's DALLE. OpenAI image generation. We'll talk about that. You can create ads by utilizing AI, create product names, extract keywords from text, create entire articles. You can make a micro horror story, which we'll talk about that. That's kind of a fun thing. And then the actual settings itself. So I'm going to start with settings, and then we'll go back to ChatGPT and kind of work across here. With the settings, this does utilize the OpenAI API key. So you're connecting directly to OpenAI. If you have an API key, you pop it in here and away you go. If you don't, you can click this button, create an OpenAI key, and it's going to take you to the page where you can go ahead and either log in or sign up. I've gone ahead and signed in, and it just takes you directly under user to API keys. Now, this may look different over time. I'm sure it will. OpenAI, this is we're 7 months now since ChatGPT came out, so I'm sure that this will change. But basically what you're going to do is you're just going to create a new security key. And once you create it, you do want to save it off because you can never get it back. So you can see here, I have some partial keys here. I can never see these again. They are then saved. I could delete them and create new ones, but I can't ever see them again. So if I create, if I click on create new secret key, and I'm just going to say, I don't know, video. We call it whatever you want, right? Create the secret key. And then I can just copy this right here. So I'm going to copy it. It says, please save the secret key somewhere safe and accessible for security. You won't be able to view it again through your OpenAI account. If you lose the secret key, you'll need to generate a new one. So I would copy this, and then as soon as I click done, it is now gone forever. Like it's not there. I still have it on my clipboard, and so I can go over here then, and where'd we go? Here we are. And I just going to paste it in here. And then you can make it visible or not right here, which is just for your own whateverness. Now, of course, obviously, I just showed the world my OpenAI key, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that key and take it away so that that's not there, because you do. So the OpenAI key is hooked up. I think you get a massive amount of free tokens, and then it costs a tiny amount. I say a tiny amount. It costs what it costs, right? For me, my opinion of it is a tiny amount to utilize these features with OpenAI, and then they just put it on your bill or whatever, your credit card. So it's pennies for me a month for the stuff that I'm doing. Nonetheless, but if you think about it too, like I think OpenAI or ChatGPT charges like $20 a month for a premium account. So if you're paying them, you're paying this whatever. So I'd rather pay a few bucks and have exactly what I want. Anyways, we can get out of that and we can go back here to this. So now we talked about settings. You do have to have the OpenAI key or this will not work. This is a list of available engines. These are all engines from OpenAI. So depending on how familiar you are with this, let's kind of back this train up for just a second. OpenAI is the company that owns ChatGPT, if you want to say it like that. I'm not trying to be super technical here, so I may get something technically a little off. I'm trying to bring this into terminology that makes sense for the vast amount of people. So if you're a super technical person, you can skip this part of the video. If you're a coder that's working on this stuff. Otherwise, stick with me here and I'm going to kind of explain it. So I'm going to say that OpenAI owns ChatGPT. ChatGPT it utilizes the engine. It utilizes either GPT-4 or GPT-3.5 engine model. And so that's kind of like a chat model where you can talk to it. You probably use ChatGPT in general, and it's pretty amazing. However, there are lots of other engines as well, and other engines do different things. So, for example, TextDaVinci 3 is another engine that we'll be talking about, and it is also owned by OpenAI, and it does things differently. DALL-E is another engine that's owned by OpenAI, and it generates the images. So OpenAI is kind of like a suite of all these different engines. ChatGPT is one segment, DaVinci is a segment, DALL-E is a segment. You can see there's Whisper, and there's a bunch of different stuff. So without going too deep into that, I just kind of wanted to give you an idea because you see this perhaps overwhelming list of engines here, and like, what do I do with this? I'll explain it, but you really don't have to do anything with it on the whole. So let's go back to the beginning here on ChatGPT, or chat with me. This is ChatGPT right here. It remembers everything. Over here, you can start new chats. This is where it shows up. This is where you type. We'll show it in a second. This is kind of like the enter button. You can save your messages as well, which is kind of cool. Let you download all of the current chat or the selected messages of the current chat. And then the submit, like how you submit it, there's different options here. I'm not going to really go over it. You can look at it and play with it. And then you can close the chat. You can even adjust the colors, which I like because I like lighter themed colors rather than dark, like here. I know this is dark, but like we could play with this and put it to me background and, I don't know, whatever. Like there's probably, like, here is cream. I don't know. Sure. Fine. And go out of here. And I guess I clicked the wrong thing. That's the text message here. See, it gives you kind of like a preview. So the me text is, I don't know, let's make it green, right? The default background of the window, I'm going to make that white. You don't have to do this. You do whatever you want, right? This is your thing. I'm just showing you what can happen here. So let's make this gray and black. This doesn't really matter. Anyways. You get the point. All right, so now I've made it. I've changed it. I just want to show you can change it. Why is that important? Well, people like what they like, right? One of my teenage sons, he loves everything dark. I like everything light. Why? Well, it does matter because 50% of the population on the planet has a stigmatism. Stigmatism is to do with the curvature of your eye, and you can research this, but big companies have done, like, I believe Adobe did a study, but big companies have done massive studies on how this affects things. And if you put a white background with dark text, so a light background like this with dark text, that is easier to read for somebody with astigmatism. If you don't have astigmatism, you're not going to notice the difference. If you do have astigmatism, then you will notice that if you make a dark background with light text, it begins to make it fuzzy because of how the curvature of your eye works, and it makes it harder to read, which can give you a headache. So I like my working environment in a way that makes my head and my eyes happy and doesn't give me a headache and doesn't, make me work harder. So adjusting the colors, while it seems like it's trivial, actually has a functional effect. So that said, we can say whatever. I just was talking to it and I said I like Honeycrisp apples. They are my favorite. Why does that matter? It gave me some opinion about how, as an OpenAI model, it doesn't have an opinion. Fine. So then I said, what is my favorite apple? I told you a moment ago. Then it says, based on what you said, your favorite apple is Honeycrisp. So it remembers, of course, what you are doing. And if you are familiar with ChatGPT, this will be old news. But for those of you who may not have used it as much, this is important. This is standard. You can do a lot with ChatGPT on the whole. So like you could actually technically generate articles. You can do all kinds of things, but let me give you an example. Say I want to make a video title. In fact, the video title for this particular video might be ScrapeBox, OpenAI, and ChatGPT direct integration plugin. Now, I could then say, I'm hitting enter right now. You can also hold down shift and hit enter depending on your settings, but I'm going to say based on the, here, I'm going to pause this and type this out. All right, so based on the above titles, YouTube title, give me 3 other titles. Let's say the same basic thing, but are optimized for SEO, have high emotion, and with a grade level of no more than 6th grade. High emotion is great for sales copy, or it can be, depending on how you use it. And then, of course, we don't like to go above 6th grade on a lot of things because, you know, different people have different languages, and English as a second language, when you start getting into that, lower grade levels is easier to understand. And so basically I did this in a conversation about apples, and it thinks I'm on apples. So it's possible that I should just start a new conversation, or that I should put that this is the title. So let's just start a new chat, and then let's say it. And we will get back from this ScrapeBox. Unleash your SEO potential with ScrapeBox's new AI chat integration. Revamp your website's user experiences at ScrapeBox's GPT-enabled direction plugin, or say goodbye to boring chats and hello to high-emotion conversation of ScrapeBox's OpenAI, right? So you can tailor this. I actually get into, like, this is whatever. I get into very long things. So I get into instructions. This is my ChatGPT prompt to write an email for stuff. I go into neuro-linguistic programming and how I want the call to actions to be. And I put all of this, as well as their pain points and everything. You can do a lot with ChatGPT. And I put all of that in there, and then I get back ridiculous quality emails based on that. So for kicks and giggles, I'm going to go ahead and throw this in here, and then we will move on. Although I could make an entire YouTube channel, and I'm sure they exist already, but I could make an entire YouTube channel on what you could do with ChatGPT. Just for business. So check out this new video I made for you on how you can use ScrapeBox's new direct integration with ChatGPT and OpenAI. The possibilities are endless. You can use this for business, earn money, convert more customers, and even use it for your personal life. Watch the video now. So that is my email. I just kind of wrote out some thoughts. So this, if I want to send an email to, so I have people, when you join that scrapeboxtips.com, one of the things I'll give you is when I make a new video, I'll send you an email. Not always, but sometimes if I think it's relevant. And let's say I wanted to send out an email here. I'm going to take my extra prompts that I have pasted in here from my super duper long notepad file that I've developed, and hit go. And you can see this giant prompt that I made. And it is basically, the way I built the prompt is so that it takes what I wrote and then it restructures it based on various things and puts it in here. Now, I'm not 100% certain that this will give me exactly this. I have different prompts, and this really wasn't completely optimized for this email. But let's see what happens anyways, for the fun of it. Why not? Okay, so I actually wound up getting, I realized I had put in the wrong prompt. So, because different prompts work better for different things that I've built. So this prompt works better for videos. So I went back and put in the right prompt, and then here we go. So, are you tired of repetitive tasks that take 3 times as long to complete? Say goodbye to outdated routines and hello to newfound freedom with ScrapeBox's new direct integration. Learn how to easily convert more customers and supercharge your potential life. Discover a new level of efficiency and excitement. Watch now. Right, so I can send that in it. I have it to give me a creative email, a casual email, a problem, agitate, solve, business type email, and then a personal email. As you can see, we've all been frustrated with missed connections and unanswered messages in social media, right? That's kind of businessy. The personal is, we all want to impress that special someone, right? ScrapeBox's new direct integration with ChatGPT, you get the point, right? So you can, like, ChatGPT is endless, like what you can do with it. So I'll leave ChatGPT alone, and let's talk about the rest of the functions. Creating images. So we can create images, and we can set up the dimensions of them, make them big, small, whatever. We can ask how many images do we want. So let's get 10. What do we want it to do? Let's say a brown dog running outside in a park with trees and a blue and a rainbow in the sky, right? I don't know, whatever. Let us generate images. And it says processing, please wait. Of course, when we're done, we can save the images. And then we can select specific ones. That's why it's telling us how many we selected. And then the preview size is 128 pixels. Right now I can adjust the preview size, but here we go. So this is kind of like, what we're looking at. Obviously, if I want to save them, then that's better. I could preview at a bigger size. Right here you can see, so the window is, here, let's make that a reasonable size. All right, so there we go. So that's kind of cool. So there's a rainbow, a brown dog running in a park, a brown dog running in a park. You get the point. There it is. So, anyways, you can be a lot more specific with the images, and I generate some, crazy images. In fact, the background of the thumbnail that is on this very video that you're watching was generated with AI image generation. And so I generate all kinds of stuff with AI. Nonetheless, I'm sure you can come up with lots of reasons for your business and your personal life to generate images. Everything from I make bedtime stories for my kids with AI generated images and Chat GPT writes them, to sending emails, to the thumbnail that you're using, to video descriptions, titles, emails themselves, like sales copy, the whole 9 yards, sales pages, everything. So, and tons more. So creating ads, you can create an ad from this. So we would just be describing our ad, describe the ad that you want to create. And I just made up something. We're on the dog theme, so why not stick with it? An ad that sells GPS tracking collars for dogs. You can, obviously there's a lot more text here. You can be a lot more descriptive. I don't claim to be the world's foremost expert in creating ads. So, you could do that. You can load these descriptions, you can save them off, clear them. Of course, you can create the ad and we can save the ad. Now, we should talk about this over here because this is the first time this has popped up. And so there are engines you can use. Remember, you saw all of the engines here. When we create the ads, you can use different engines. So it defaults to Text DaVinci 03, right? But there's like this absurdly long, it's not absurdly, it's just a lot, right? So there's a lot of options. If you don't know, use Text DaVinci 3 for all of these different ones when it asks you. But if you do know what you want, that's great. If you don't know what you want, just either leave it to default or try Text DaVinci 3. What is this, though? You can go here to this platform, to this link here, and I can put this in the description. This is OpenAI's link, and it starts to describe what's going on, right? So we have this, what is Text DaVinci 3? Here it is, Text DaVinci 3. It tells you what it can do. And then, of course, there's other specific ones. There's all these GPT 3.5 Turbo ones. There's individual snapshot ones. There is DALL-E. There is GPT-3, Curie and Babbage and Ada, and the list goes on. So you can basically, here's what I'm saying. If you have a specific use case where you need to use a specific engine because you know what you want, or you've read through this list and you know what you want, then great. For everyone else that doesn't have a specific use case, and myself included, like I've read through them, but I still would choose Text DaVinci 3 for this. So for every single one of these features where it asks you, so it's going to ask you here, right here, right here, right here, and right here, I just use Text DaVinci 3. That could change over time, right? It probably will default here because these engines change and they update, so this list will change over time. So you can reference, this document on OpenAI's website, but at the moment, anyways, Text DaVinci 3 is the best one to use. So what about the rest of this? Max tokens. I set this at a higher number, like 1,000, or you can even go up to, I think, like 4,096. It tells us in here. 4,096 Text DaVinci 3. 4,097 is technically the max tokens. Don't get caught up in tokens. Don't get caught up in all this. It's all about size. When you submit the message, it breaks it down into chunks. Those chunks are called tokens. So I don't, OpenAI calls them a token. So 4,097 would be our max, right? If you hover over these, it tells you about these different things. I'm just going to you can hit the tokens more, but I just leave the rest of this stuff. So you can play with this. And if you find something that works for what you want, that's awesome. Go with it. But if you don't know, just leave it to the default. And even if you do know and you don't necessarily have a reason to change it, then I even understand this stuff, but I'm still just leaving it to default because the default really is the best for the vast majority of everything. All right, let's click create ad and see what we get. And it's telling me that the maximum length, however, I requested 4,107. And so I guess this is great that I got this error, because if you see an error like this in one way, shape, or form that tells you that the maximum tokens is X and you ask for more than that, then it just means you need to lower something. Like lower your input, like because your input, and I didn't realize this, the 4,097 is the max tokens, but it took 11 tokens for the request, and then what it's going to kick back to me is maxed out at 4,096. So I need to reduce my prompt. So what does that mean? Let's just make this lower. Let's put it like 1,000, for example, and go with it. So probably like 4,000 would have been fine in there, or like 1,000, but this is the max tokens that it's going to kick out down here. That doesn't necessarily affect up here. So all I'm saying is if you get that error, just lower what's in here, and 1,000 tokens is going to be fine. So here we have an ad introducing the latest in pet safety and security, GPS tracking collars for dogs. So if they run off, you can find them. I'm not going to read the rest of it, but you get the point. So we made an ad. All right, create product names. And they give us some examples in here: a home milkshake maker, fast, healthy, compact. And if you don't know what this is, just try the try what they suggest. Right? And then just create product name. Again, I'm just leaving all this defaulted here. And so it's giving me product names, and I can keep refreshing it and get different product names. So again, I'm not the world's foremost expert on product names. I don't really have a good use case for this, so if I needed to make product names, I could give you better details, but you can play with it and see what happens. The extract keywords, basically you pop in some text and you get your extracted keywords back. So I'm just going to go actually here to ScrapeBox, and I'm just going to grab a bunch of text off their website. Pop it in here and set this up. I don't know. Generate keywords. And so we'll let that process and see. And we have our keywords back. So again, you can play with this stuff. If you don't know, just leave it default. And here is our keywords that it generated based on that text and relevance. We can create an article, enter details about the article to create. How about let's just use the same thing and create the article. See what happens. It's a beautiful scene. The dog's running around the park, surrounded by lush green trees and a colorful rainbow in the sky. The sun is shining bright, whatever, right? So I could have also said, make it at least 500 or 600 words, no less than 500. All right, then hit go and see what happens, right? And we'll get back, obviously, something longer here. All right, and so we have a much longer one, obviously. I'm not going to read you the whole story about the brown dog in the park. Looks like we have a pond I saw in the sun, and rabbits chattering away, searching for food. Rabbits are hopping around. I don't know. You get the point. So you can create an article about whatever you want, but this isn't like your standard old school. Like if you've been around in the SEO space or tool space for a while, there's been tools that maybe were AI or sold as AI, and I'm not saying that they're not, but they created articles based on different criteria or formulas. This is actually an article that's created by AI, like real for life AI. So you get a much more cohesive, logical article that's going to make sense, that doesn't look like it was created by a software program. It looks like it was created by a human. I mean, you can read through it. How he eventually stopped near a pond where ducks were swimming around happily and quickly quacking away as they went about their day. The dog watched them for a while before continuing on his journey through this park paradise, right? So obviously this is a fictional kind of story, but you could put non-fictional. You could, this is more like a story rather than an article, but that's because we talked about a dog running through a park with trees. But you could obviously put in here, write an article about, I don't know, SEO, write an article about your business, about, you know, how keeping your roof clean from trees, twigs, and leaves is important so that it doesn't back up and cause water damage to your roof, right? Obviously, very useful. Micro horror story. This is more like, to me, this seems like a fun thing to play with so that you can kind of understand. If you don't know what to do with all these things, play with the horror story. This is kind of like to me, this is my opinion. It's kind of like a segue into things. It's kind of like a nice prompt. So if this seems overwhelming, if you seem like there's a lot going on here, because there is, if AI seems like a challenge, part of that is just getting comfortable. So when you get comfortable, your brain starts to open up, and that's the thing. If you feel like it's overwhelming, then it is overwhelming, and there's a lot here. But if you just come in here and you put this on, a dark castle, can't spell, doesn't matter, with a barking dog. That's the cool thing about AI. It compensates for my spelling. Right? You get this nice little horror story about a barking dog with a dark castle, and I have no idea what this is going to give us. And I hit my max token limit. It's too low, so just put this like 1,000. So that's the one thing you have to obviously keep in mind is tokens, right? So the castle towered over the small village, a looming presence. A chilling howling pierced my ears. I followed the sound only to discover a large black dog barking furiously at me. Right. Okay. So the point here is this is kind of fun. It's kind of makes you comfortable. And so as you start to scroll around things, your brain opens up because this is a psychology thing. And you start to say, well, what else could I do? And then you transition from not knowing how to approach it to what else can I do? And that's a diametric thing because you're asking a question rather than making a statement. So without giving you a ton of psychology on things, I think this is a really great introductory, like, get you into things. So without giving you tons of psychology and stuff like that, this is a great, really introductory thing that you could get in and play with it. If you're an experienced user, no worries. If you want to have some fun on your board, or, I mean, frankly, like, if you're stuck, like, just changing your brain from like a focused on something to a creative element, a story or whatever, could help free some stuff up. Play with it, do what you want, use it, don't use it, doesn't matter. It's there if you want to. And then we're back to settings. And so that is the OpenAI Chat GPT scraper. It's super early. I think it's been out. It only just got out of beta. And so obviously I'm sure this will change over time and I'll do more videos on it in the future. But as of right now, that is some of the things that you can do. And of course, with the chat with me function, the sky is the limit. Having it all directly integrated right into ScrapeBox is amazing because you can take, you could take stuff off of web pages and have it analyzed and get the keywords for it for the SEO that you're working on, or maybe your competitors. You could turn around and you could write the messages that you need to use for the contact forms. You could analyze data that you get. You could take like a list of emails. Like if you had a list of emails, for example, you scrape some emails with the email scraper or the email scraper plugin, either way, and you could take them and you could throw all the list of emails in there and say, all right, take out all the emails that are longer than 12 characters. Like it's AI, so you can literally do anything. Take out all the emails that are longer than 12 characters that have Gmail or a similar kind of domain name in the end of it, so you're only getting domain-based emails, and also then make sure there's only one email from each domain. So if it's bob@cars.com and sally@cars.com, remove one. Like you could do all that stuff and just slap it into Chat GPT and it's just going to do it. And so the sky really is the limit. The limitation on the OpenAI scraper isn't what the OpenAI scraper can do. The limitation is the quality of questions and queries that you give it and ask it. And so that is the OpenAI ChatGPT ScrapeBox plugin integration. Thanks for watching this ScrapeBox video. For more ScrapeBox videos, click the subscribe button down below and then click the bell. And then check out these other great ScrapeBox videos.